Welcome. Tonight, we escape the noise of the modern world and travel far into the north to a land of misty fjords, towering pine forests, and starlit winter skies. This is the world of the Norse people, the Vikings. Lie back comfortably, let your eyes gently close, and feel the weight of the day lift from your mind. Take a deep, slow breath in and let it drift away. Let the steady, rhythmic sound of the northern seas guide you into a state of deep, peaceful relaxation as we share 50 sleepy facts about the Viking world. Fact 1. The homeland of the Vikings was defined by the fjords. These deep, narrow inlets of water were surrounded by immense, quiet cliffs that shielded the water below, keeping it as calm and smooth as a dark mirror. Fact 2. The Vikings did not call themselves Vikings. To them, the word Viking was an action. It meant to go on a voyage across the sea. At home, they were simply farmers, craftsmen, and poets who lived in harmony with the changing seasons. Fact 3. At the heart of their culture were their magnificent longships. These vessels were designed to be incredibly flexible, allowing them to glide effortlessly across the rough, open ocean and navigate shallow, winding rivers with equal grace. Fact 4. The construction of a longship was a quiet, meditative art. Shipbuilders would select a single, ancient oak tree for the keel, splitting the wood along its natural grain to ensure the ship remained strong, yet remarkably light. Fact 5. Viking ships were built using the overlapping clinker method. The wooden planks were fixed together with iron rivets, creating a rhythmic pattern down the side of the hull that allowed the ship to flex and dance with the ocean waves. Fact 6. The sails of the longships were immense, woven from local wool and coated with a layer of animal fat or wax to make them completely windproof. The wind, catching the sail, made a soft, continuous humming sound. Fact 7. When the wind died down, the crew would take up the oars. The rhythm of rowing was hypnotic. The synchronized splash of wooden oars entering the cool water over and over, pulling the ship forward through the mist. Fact 8. The prow of a longship was often carved with the elegant shape of a sea serpent or dragon. These carvings were not meant to frighten, but to protect the ship and satisfy the quiet spirits of the sea. Fact 9. To navigate the open waters, Norse sailors did not have magnetic compasses. Instead, they relied on a deep, intuitive understanding of nature, watching the flight patterns of seabirds and the swimming directions of whales. Fact 10. They also used a mysterious tool called a sunstone. This was a clear crystal of Iceland spar that could polarize light, allowing sailors to find the exact position of the sun even on completely overcast, foggy days. Fact 11. When a longship returned home, it did not drop anchor in a bustling port. It was gently guided onto a soft, sandy beach where the crew would pull the wooden hull safely above the tide line. Fact 12. The Norse people viewed the sea with a deep sense of reverence. They believed the ocean was alive, a vast and ancient entity that required patience, respect, and a quiet mind to navigate. Fact 13. As twilight settled over the fjords, the water would turn a deep, midnight blue. The longships sat silently on the shore, their tall prows silhouetted against the rising moon. Part 2. Hearth and longhouse. Characters: 4,400. Fact 14. Away from the water, Viking life centered around the longhouse. These large, timber-framed buildings were shaped like upturned boats, with gently curved walls made of turf and wood to seal out the biting northern cold. Fact 15. The roof of a longhouse was thickly thatched with reeds or covered in green sod. In the summertime, wild grasses and small flowers would grow across the roof, blending the home perfectly into the green hills. Fact 16. Inside the longhouse, there were no separate rooms. It was a single, open, and communal space where families gathered together, creating a deep sense of closeness, warmth, and shared comfort. Fact 17. At the very center of the longhouse was a long, stone-lined hearth. A fire burned here continuously, providing steady warmth, soft illumination, and the comforting, rustic scent of burning pine and birch wood. Fact 18. There were no windows in a longhouse, only a small opening in the roof to let the smoke escape. This kept the interior dimly lit, filled with soft shadows and the hypnotic golden flicker of the central fire. Fact 19. Along the walls of the longhouse were raised wooden platforms. Covered in thick, soft animal pelts and wool blankets, these benches served as places to sit and work during the day, and cozy beds to sleep on at night. Fact 20. Weaving was a foundational part of daily life. Women sat at tall, vertical looms, their hands moving rhythmically as they wove heavy wool into clothing, blankets and sails, the stone loom weights clinking softly together. Fact 21. Norse clothing was designed for warmth and comfort. Both men and women wore long, loose-fitting tunics made of linen or wool, held in place by elegant bronze brooches shaped like tortoises. Fact 22. Contrary to popular belief, the Vikings were incredibly clean people. They bathed regularly, usually on Saturdays, which was known in their language as laugardaga, meaning washing day. Fact 23. Archaeologists have found that the most common objects in Viking graves are not weapons, but beautifully carved combs made from deer antlers, used daily to keep their hair neat and tidy. Fact 24. Norse food was simple, wholesome, and prepared slowly. A heavy iron cauldron would hang over the central hearth, gently simmering for hours with a thick stew of barley, root vegetables, and wild herbs. Fact 25. They also enjoyed sweet treats made from wild berries. During the short, intense summer months, children would gather baskets of wild raspberries, blueberries, and cloudberries from the forest floor. Fact 26. Honey was the only sweetener available in the far north. It was used sparingly to sweeten porridges, or fermented slowly with water and wild yeast to create a rich, golden drink known as mead. Part 3. Craft, Nature, and the Seasons. Characters, 4,300. Fact 27. The Vikings were master blacksmiths. Working in small, smoke-filled workshops, they used heavy stone hammers to shape glowing iron into delicate tools, kitchen utensils, and intricate jewelry. Fact 28. They practiced an art form known as the boar style. This style featured complex, intertwining geometric patterns and ribbons of metal that seemed to knot together infinitely, symbolizing the interconnectedness of all things. Fact 29. Wood carving was a deeply respected skill. A craftsman could look at a plain block of birch or pine and, using a small iron knife, slowly bring forth the shapes of wolves, ravens, and intertwined vines. Fact 30. The Norse alphabet was made of characters called runes. These straight, sharp letters were specifically designed to be easily carved into hard surfaces like wood, bone, or large monumental stones. Fact 31. Runestones were erected across the landscape, standing like quiet sentinels in fields and at crossroads, carrying messages of remembrance and family history for generations to come. Fact 32. The Viking year was divided into just 2 seasons, summer and winter. The arrival of summer was celebrated with joy, as it brought long, sunlit days where the sun barely set, allowing crops to grow rapidly. Fact 33. Agriculture was a quiet, family affair. Farmers ploughed fields using oxen, sowing seeds of barley, rye, and oats in the fertile soil near the edges of the fjords, listening to the morning birds. Fact 34. They kept small, hardy breeds of cattle, sheep, and goats. During the winter, these animals were often brought into one end of the longhouse, their body heat helping to keep the entire home warm. Fact 35. Viking children did not go to school. Instead, they learned by quietly watching and mimicking their parents, discovering how to read the weather, track forest animals, and tend the soil. Fact 36. Cats were highly valued members of the household. They were kept to protect the grain stores and were considered so gentle and important that they were sometimes given to new brides as a wedding gift. Fact 37. To travel across the deep winter snow, the Vikings used wooden skis and ice skates made from the polished leg bones of horses or cows, gliding silently across frozen lakes. Fact 38. The forest was a sacred space for the Norse people. They believed that trees possessed a quiet wisdom, and they would walk among the ancient pines to find peace, clarity, and connection to the earth. Fact 39. As the short summer faded into autumn, the air would turn crisp and cold. The communities worked steadily to gather firewood and dry their harvest, preparing for the long, quiet sleep of winter. Part 4. Cosmology and the Night. Characters 4100. Fact 40. In Norse mythology, the universe was held together by an immense sacred ash tree called Yggdrasil. Its roots reached deep into the earth, and its branches extended far up into the heavens, cradling the worlds in peace. Fact 41. The Norse people believed that everything in the cosmos was connected through the roots of this great tree, illustrating their belief that nature and humanity were part of one single living design. Fact 42. They looked at the night sky and saw the stars as sparks of light from the primordial realm of fire. They watched the constellations drift slowly across the dark, mapping the rhythm of the cosmos. Fact 43. The northern lights, or aurora borealis, were a frequent and wondrous sight. The dancing ribbons of green, violet, and pale crimson light in the sky were viewed with quiet awe, a silent dance in the dark. Fact 44. The god of wisdom and poetry was Odin. He was often accompanied by two ravens named Hugin and Munin, which translate to thought and memory, who flew quietly across the world each day and rested on his shoulders at night. Fact 45. Storytelling was the ultimate evening entertainment. During the dark winter nights, the community would gather closely around the hearth to listen to a skald, a traditional poet, recite long, rhythmic tales. Fact 46. The voice of the storyteller would rise and fall in a soothing cadence, accompanied only by the soft crackle of the wood fire, mesmerizing the listeners until their eyelids grew heavy. Fact 47. The Norse people had a profound acceptance of fate, which they called orlog. They believed that the threads of life were spun softly by three wise spirits known as the Norns, who lived by a peaceful well. Fact 48. Because they believed their destiny was already woven with care, they approached life with a calm, steady courage, facing the unknown with a quiet and unshakable peace of mind. Fact 49. As the midnight hour approached in the longhouse, the large timber doors were barred against the cold wind. The family would wrap themselves tightly in their wool cloaks and soft deerskins. Fact 50. The last embers of the central hearth would glow a soft, dim red, casting a faint warmth through the room. Outside, the snow fell silently on the pine trees, and the northern world rested in deep, undisturbed slumber. And now, the longhouses are still. The longships rest peacefully on the shore, and the embers have faded to ash. The same ancient stars that guided the travelers home now watch over you. Let your mind wander to the quiet forests and the calm, misty waters of the north. Release the day. You are safe. You are warm. Rest your mind and drift into a deep, beautiful sleep. Good night.